Hello, my name is Geogen and welcome back to World of Tanks. A platoon replay for you today in the T-54. Here we have Dimmelis, been on the channel plenty of times, no need to really introduce him, but he's a very competent player alongside Kontos, who's in his 212A, a very competent player as well. I believe we've seen him in an AMX 1390 before. So, this T-54 lightweight game does have quite the amount of expert play right at the end, so I won't spoil it too much, but it is very, very well played. So we're in a tier 9 maximum game with 6 tier 9s on each team. We can see a couple of targets here, a T-54 100, but Dimmelis is not going to fire as he will give his position away if he does so. Additionally, we can see that he's not using either camouflage or binoculars, so coated optics is definitely one of the equipment slots he has. He may well have a gun rammer and he may well have ventilation, so he's going for a more aggressive stance with his loadout. I may be wrong, he may have other equipment, but that's what I think he probably has. So, considering this, he has maximum view range, which means he can spot these guys with most safety until he fires, that is, puts a shot into that low health AMX, maybe looking for the tracking shot in order to get a teammate to finish him off, which the Skoda T-50 does. He doesn't get a tracking shot, but it doesn't matter, he's down, and he does get spotted because 6th sense goes off. So this would mean he has at least 100% crew with 1 skill. I imagine it's probably a 2 skill crew with high camo rating. So he disengages, pops off the map for the enemy and returns to this spot. Looks at the T-54, he's got the engine bay right behind him. 2 stars on that T-54 there, meaning that guy knows what he's doing. Could easily fire right now, but again, enemy artillery in play, and if he's spotted, that could be a problem. T-54 is showing his frontal armor now, and this 175 penetration gun, or is it 183? I forget. It may have been changed to 183. No, it is 175. The 100mm guns on the mediums did get buffed to 183. This is a 915.2 replay, I believe, so as we can see, the map is kind of a bit of a mess at the moment in terms of Dimmelis and Kontos' teammates are on the hill behind him to the C area. That's a very common place if you're new in the game and not played Red Shard much. Those guys up there, very common spot. T-55A over there, lacking the gun depression to get a shot, but it would be foolish anyway. So basically the eastern side of the map has been given up, and at least 4 enemies are over there, maybe more, maybe one of these guys is disengaged. Additionally, we have a strong presence of enemy forces there in the west and central parts of the map. So map control right now is a little tricky, so Dimmelis decides to take a peek through quite a layer of concealment here. And there's a WZ-111, he's only probably about 100 meters away, if that. 110 meters away, and he can't be seen. He has a tracking shot available, or he did, but again, pretty risky play if he was to fire right now. But keeping this WZ-111, who is on full health, lit up, will prove useful to his team, and possibly to Kontos, who is in a good position to give him some supporting fire, although as we can see he is currently reloading. So not really any risky plays just yet, but don't worry, we'll see plenty of action in a bit. We're also 2 tanks down currently, and there's a T-55A on the right hand side. In terms of ammunition loadout, Dimmelis has taken 16 rounds of AP, 1 has been fired at that AMX CDC, and 15 rounds of APCR. There's the WZ, he takes a shot, definitely gets spotted for that, but pulls into cover way before the WZ can react. WZ fires, therefore Dimmelis is safe to at least pump 1 more round, maybe a second one in, before he is reloaded. And there he goes. 3 shots into that guy, 700 damage secured, almost 800, and that is 1 tier 8 heavy down. Unfortunately, we're still 2 tanks down, and there is a T-30. In fact, there are 2 T-30s. One of them loses half his hit points from Kontos' 212A. Nice artillery placement there. I mean, it would be horrible to play in that T-30 and get struck by a 212A at the best of times, but he lost half his hit points. He also got spotted there, so he's in a bit of a pickle here. 2 T-30s and a T-55A. One of them's not paying attention. The shot, unfortunately, doesn't connect, and T-30 disappears. 5 of them remain against 6. So the odds are not as bad as it could be, but what are the enemy team going to be doing? I imagine those T-30s are going to be pushing up into the west slightly, along the D line, or perhaps up on top of the hill. T-50 pulls the score back to 5 versus 5. 2 T-30s, a Jagdpanther, 1 artillery, and a T-55A versus 1 tier 8 medium, 1 tier 8 light tank, 1 artillery, 1 tier 9 medium, and 1 tier 8 heavy. Manages to get 1 shot in before those, before the T-30 disappears. Looking for a shot on T-55A. It's very, only momentarily available. He fires and unfortunately misses. Manages to get another shot into that T-30 though. I believe that one took artillery damage from Kontos. There's T-55A, doesn't know he was spotted, and he goes down. Picking up a second kill. However, we're now only 3 versus 4. But I do like how Dimmelis and probably Kontos are focus firing at least one of these T-30s. They do have 1600 hit points in total, and it's easier to fight 1 tank as opposed to 2. Unfortunately, it's just the 2 of them left versus 4. So let's see some aggressive play from Dimmelis right now. As we can see, he's accelerating towards the last known position at 60 odd kilometers an hour. The vehicle is very fast, good power to weight ratio, and turning ability. T-30 should be around here somewhere, going for the high ground just to see if we can spot him, but he doesn't appear to be right here. So is he on this side? Yes, there he is. T-30's goes back to us, and we can take our time and fire at least 2 shots, as the T-30 has very poor rotation speed. I wouldn't risk another shot there though, and unfortunately the second shot he does take doesn't penetrate. Up to 1949 damage done. 8 hits. We do get a glimpse of the Jagdpanther behind a lot of cover, however. We can't get the shot. Knocks a tree over, notices his mistake, or perhaps an intentional move, and pulls back. Maybe the T-30s and the artillery, more importantly, were paying attention to that tree falling. There's Jagdpanther. First shot doesn't penetrate, which is unfortunate considering the Jagdpanther has quite poor HP. I must say he was auto-aiming there at the front upper plate, which probably would indicate that non-penetration. Well, not probably indicate. It's the most likely spot to bounce when you're in a Jagdpanther, and especially with 175 pan. Fortunately, it's now Dimmelis versus 3, as Kontos does go down. One of the T-30s, the one with more health, goes to hunt him, and now it's just him versus 3. So 2 T-30s, which are very slow but very dangerous tank destroyers, and 1 very dangerous artillery piece who is right here. But if we can get a shot, he takes 1, gets a critical, and half his hit points are gone. Is he going to risk this? Oh, that was somewhat risky, but he does it does pay off, and he does take that artillery down. One of the T-30s is in the friendly base. It's probably the one that got Kontos. So, thankfully, The T-54, being a light tank with good acceleration, has more than enough time to get back, considering there's only one enemy in the cab right now. 1 minute 15 to intervene. Now, he could do this from two different ways that I think, well, perhaps three. What he's doing now, go up on top of that ridgeline, but that would be very, very close, or to the far right, where you saw Kontos ping the minimap on the C8 area. Instead, he's going to be a bit more risky, I believe, and try and get a very close spot, but still using as much cover as possible, including this rock and concealment. You can't see the target yet. There is a house, I believe, just inside the cap zone, and this small rise, which in situations like this where you need to reset the cap can prove annoying. T-50 hasn't seen him, and he has now, but he was looking towards the other way. A snapshot returns. T-50 is probably using the 155 gun. He gets a tracking shot. He is using APCR at this point, but I probably would in this situation, as would many others. 235 pen, I believe, on these APCR rounds. Yes, they are. He manages to get 2 shots in, and then disengages. He doesn't want to be in that place for too long on 900 health when you have the possibility of 155mm coming at you. So, disengage, retreat, and then come around. T-50 is chasing him, however. One on 307 health, the other remaining in the cap. So we do know at least where they are, at least, well, they were. He goes around, perhaps trying to make the T-30s think he is going all the way around along the C3-4 and B4 area. But he comes back and tries to do what he did before. 44 seconds to intervene. Looking for a spot. Fortunately, the T-54 doesn't have any good gun depression, so he has to peek this ridge. Manages to get 1 shot in. Retreats before that T-30 can react. That other T-30, though, is in a position to pump a shot in if he can just get over this rise. Thankfully, they are slow, so he pulls away again. This is a nice bit of hit and run tactics that you can employ against large and slow tank destroyers such as those T-30s. And this time he's coming around the other side, or rather on top of the hill, trying to mix it up a bit because the T-30s will probably think he will be there. Gets spotted, unfortunately. Thankfully, the T-30 fires. That means he can take this guy down if both shots connect, unless he gets a really good high roll. 294 is a good high roll for this 100mm gun, 250 on average, but he takes him down with the second shot. T-30, other T-30 comes up the hill. He's looking to try and evade, but he gets hit for 700 damage, but that means he's fired and he has time now to deal with it. And there he goes. 6 kills, 7 kills for the platoon, and this replay showed a great deal of knowledge to do with turret traverse, reload times, spying mechanics, a lot of good things here. Not the hugest score in terms of damage, we're not talking 6,000, 7,000 damage, but still, I would be very, very happy with that result. And I imagine Dimmelis was once he finished that replay, or that game rather. So, all that's left to do now is look at the post-game stats. Here we go. A mastery game, or ace tanker rather, spotter, duelist, fire for effect, 39,000 credits. This is with a standard account run number 4,491. Experience times 3, first one of the day. A defender medal for reducing enemy capture points on the friendly base by 70 or more, high caliber, and a top gun. Team score, we have, of course, the most damage on the team done by Dimmelis, and then Kontos in his 2-on-2A, who did 2,683 damage in his artillery. Those T-30s, one of them did almost 3,000 damage, so he was having the start of a good game. 1,497 base experience. 23 shots fired, 22 hits, 19 penetrations, very good accuracy, and, well, sometimes the gun is a little weak with regards to its penetration, but still a good outcome. 1100 spotting damage, and 100 defense points in total. 6 kilometers traveled, and the rest you can see for yourselves. The game was also 1337 in its time. So that was a very nice replay to watch. It showed quite a good number of things for you players who like their light tanks and perhaps need a few pointers. I will try some of these things perhaps when I play my lights. As you can see, Dimmelis here, he knows how to do it. And as always, I've been Geogen, and I'll see you chaps and chapettes in the next one.